Hello everyone, what's up? Prince 15 here with another review of The Bad Batch. Today we're taking a look at 2 episodes, Into the Breach and Flash Strike. Not the last 2, but the next to last 2 episodes of The Bad Batch. So, sorry for no review last week, but with the way Into the Breach ended, I was kind of thinking to myself, I don't really know if I'm going to have enough to talk about here in terms of like predictions and what I thought, because the End of the Breach I think is a good episode, but it's fine. But it's very quick. There's not a whole. It's a lot of just trucking along and getting to Tantus. So there's just not a whole lot of. There wasn't a whole lot of substance to really talk about. I kind of felt the same way about it that I did about the episode earlier in the season where Omega and Crosshair are just running around on that planet gambling, trying to find transport off world. So, because of that, I was like, I don't really know if I have enough for a review this week. So I decided to save it, and I would do a double this time, because now I definitely have plenty to talk about. So yeah, starting off, that episode that I was just discussing, there was some fun hijinks in there. Including from like Rampart with the captain's uniform going. It's like, this is a captain's uniform. I was a vice admiral, and the Batch are like, your point. Just do what we tell you, and we don't shoot you in the face. How about that? So I didn't enjoy that. Just the typical Imperials are just so eager to shut up and follow orders and not really question anything, that even when something's clearly amiss, a lot of people, it's so easy to fool them, because they'll go, oh, this is a superior officer telling me something to do, I better go ahead and do it. They don't bother to think. It's like, hold on, isn't this the guy whose face was broadcasted all over the HoloNet because Palpatine says he betrayed the Empire or something? Maybe I shouldn't trust him. So, and he's got a beard, but so he's a little different than. He looks a little different than he was at one point. But anyway, so very, very nice tense moment there at the end where it's like, are they going to make it on board to attach to the science shuttle or not? Clearly they do. I mean, obviously, but still, that was well executed and framed and timed out and everything. And then the boom, hyperspace, and credits. It's like, oh, come on, that had to be the point for credits. So that was one of those reasons why I was like, I don't know if I want to do a solo review on this. I'll double it up with the next episode. So I'm glad I did that, because this episode, we're very clearly rocketing towards the finale here, and with everything that's happened in this episode, with Omega, crawling around the air ducts, finding the Zillo beast. The Bad Batch is now on the ground. They're fighting monsters. They're running from the Imperials to try to find their way into the base. With all this stuff that's going on, I really don't think that they are going to be able to wrap this up in 22 minutes. I really think that the finale is going to be, at the very least, a double episode, if not a triple, which I guess would be 60, 70 minutes. So I as of right now, in the week before the lead up to the final episode, I am of the opinion that this is going to be a longer episode, just because I have no clue how they are going to wrap all of this up in 22 minutes. especially if they bring back certain parts of the show that. It's like, at this point, I've made my peace with the fact that Sid is not going to be in it. At this point, that she got her mention where Clone X or whatever interrogated her, got information from her to track down Phee. So I think that's probably as much inclusion as Sid's going to get this season. I really think that's a weird fumble for this writing team. That's been a pretty solid writing team. I mean, no one's perfect, but it's like, I don't know if maybe there's behind the scenes stuff going on where it's like maybe their budget got cut, so they had to lose an actor, and so Rhea Perlman was the one that got the boot. It's like, well, we've got these other people we absolutely need to keep, so you're not necessarily necessary. And maybe that's the reason they did it. But again, just the way that they were writing Sid for her to never appear again after the end of season 2, I don't know. Like I've said it before, it just feels weird. It feels like they were going with a more clear redemption thing with her, moving in that direction, and they've just dropped her, which I don't know. So it's like it's not the worst thing in the world, because in terms of characters getting redemption, Crosshair is a much better example of how that can be handled, because he's really kind of, his redemption is kind of in the whole focus of the whole series, where you see him lose his path and then eventually find it again, etc. So that's been much more fulfilling and great to see. So ditching Sid, I'm not too torn up about, but I do think it is a weird blemish on what's otherwise been a pretty good track record. So that being said, another thing, I'm very curious how they're going to wrap this up. If there is even anything to wrap up, is Clone X, or CX2, or whatever the designation is, the clone assassin, that everyone of course has been speculating that is it Tech, is it Cody? Who is it? Who is this character? And if the finale is a double or a triple length episode, then they're definitely doing something with him, because I don't know what else you would be filling in there. But if they don't have him in there, or if the episode's only 22 minutes, then he is not going to be in this in the episode at all. And I guess my initial theory was correct, that he's not Tech, he's not some character we've already known. He is literally just the supposed to be a mirror image of Crosshair, and see what he could have been. And it's good that Crosshair got back on the straight and narrow and returned to the Bad Batch and didn't continue living that Imperial life. And if that's the case, then I'm totally fine with that, because that's kind of where I've been wanting this to go since the start. I've been pretty clear about that in all these reviews. It's like, I don't want it to be Tech. Tech had such a good send-off. You don't need to bring him back as the Winter Soldier. It's fine without doing that. So I'll definitely be pleased. But I know there's going to be a lot of people that are probably going to be unhappy if he just turns out to be a nobody / doesn't make it. Well, I mean, him not making an appearance, I think, would probably signal that he's a nobody, because if he was Tech, then they would definitely have him in the last episode of the last season of the show. So yeah, but because it's interesting, I did see, I can't remember who, but I did see one of the writers for the show on Twitter. They did use the Luke Skywalker line from The Last Jedi, "This is not going to go the way you think." And it says, I see a lot of people theorizing, just going to say this about the finale. So yeah, that's an interesting thing to say. So yeah, so that could be about, the identity of the clone assassin. It could be about, a bunch of characters getting killed off and dying. It could definitely be about a lot of things, but I guess we'll find out. But yeah, I guess, just before the series is over and ended, I really like, because I think, we've seen how her growth and everything. I just really like what they've done with Omega, and seeing how capable she is, and her running around on her own and getting into the walls of Mount Tantus, and being able to, figure a way out, and just how so self-assured she is of her own capabilities. She is so not the wide-eyed, "Oh, hey, look at me, I don't know what dirt is because I've been locked in sterile Camino all my life." And that was really, and I really did enjoy seeing all of that, seeing that wide-eyed innocence of discovering everything for the first time. But it's been really cool to see the growth from that point to now, where I mean, she's, she and these kids are about to mess up some poor Imperial Sap's day. I mean, they think that it's like, it's just kids. What are they going to do? And then the next thing they know, they're going to be crying in a fetal position in the corner because of what these kids did to them. It's like, well, they're just kids. I don't understand it. We had everything under control. How could it have gone so wrong? It's like, because you messed with the protagonists. So, oh, and I get so I've just now remembered this. A couple episodes ago, I did question where the other doctor went. As I said, before we met Emery, at the end of season 1, we did meet this other doctor. And I was like, oh, what happened to her? Where'd she go? And then, and since posing that question, she's now shown up in like these last 2 episodes, and I guess she's been in the background the entire time, and I just didn't recognize her. Because I did look up her Wikipedia entry, and because I said, yeah, like midway through season 2, she disappeared. It's like, well, she's actually been in the background of a couple season 3 episodes, and I just didn't notice. So she didn't have any speaking lines in my defense, so she wasn't front and center. She was just walking around in the background or something. But I was curious about that. So she's there. And now she is definitely a foil to Emery. She is, she's the uncaring scientist that's like, I really liked that exchange when the base goes into lockdown, and she said, and Emery says, move everything into the typical protocols and stuff, and keep watch over the children. And she goes, oh yes, I'll keep an eye on the subjects. It's like she's so distanced herself from the reality of what's going on that she refuses to even classify what she has under her care as actual living children. And it's just going, oh, they're subjects. It's like, that is a level of cold and evil that makes her ripe for a blaster bolt to the face, if you ask me. It's like, okay, it's so it's like, so the question is, who's gonna do it? Another option, since it seems like Omega's plan is going to be, hey, you know what's going to be a really good distraction to help us escape? Zillo Beast. Zillo Beast, yes! I cannot wait to see. It's gonna be it's like Zillo Beast, King of the Monsters, up in here. It's gonna be so great. Where it's like I can just imagine all the stormtroopers running around shooting at this thing as it pancakes them, while the Bad Batch are just kind of watching like, well, this just made things easier, and then they grab Omega and run off. So yeah. I mean, there's just so much. They've built up so much for how this finale is going to go. I don't see how it's over in just 22 minutes. It's like there's got to be. It has to be at the very least a double length episode. So yeah, I'm interested. So I'm very curious how this is all going to wrap up, because that could be something. I could see the Zillo Beast eating the other doctor lady whose name I even looked up for this like an hour ago, and now that I'm actually getting around to recording it, I've already forgotten her name. It's one of those things I'll probably get down eventually, but it's like, that's what happens when a character disappears for a while, and I think she's gone. And then of course Hemlock. What's going to happen to Hemlock and also Scorch? Because I really hope they do answer the question. It's like, is it just their inhibitor chips that are doing this to them, or are these clone commandos just loyal to the Empire? Because it would be cool if the Bad Batch get in there and the clones kind of see the situation going south and seeing an opportunity, and then they go, all right, we're with you guys now, kill the Imperials, and then you just have this army of clone commandos shooting at the place, rescuing clones, getting them out of the test tubes or whatever, and then they all get in shuttles and they leave, and then like and then Dr. Hemlock's like, oh no, how could this have happened? And then he gets eaten by the Zillo Beast or something, like Jurassic Park. So there's a lot of cool ways they could go with this, and it's like something that people have been worried about. It's like, okay, who's gonna die? I'm like, I don't know if anyone has to die. The way the story has been shaping up, I could see them killing off a character, but at the same time, I could also see them all getting away scot-free at this point. So I could see it going either way. So I guess we'll just have to find out. But yeah, these were good 2 episodes. I think they've done a good job setting us up for the finale. And hopefully that's what's happened here. And that's another thing, is I hope it has set us up for the finale. And we're going to get, like I said, a double or triple length episode. Because if not, then I don't know why they spaced this out like this and why they didn't. Because because if next week's episode is just 22 minutes, then why didn't you release these 2 episodes on the same day? That's another thing I have towards, I think, evidence for next week's episode being longer, is because, okay, well, because they've done this already, where they've released these batches of episodes a day, 3 for the premiere, 2 for one arc, 2 for another arc. So I don't know why, if the next episode is just 22 minutes long, why they wouldn't release it alongside this episode as well. So that's another reason why I think it's probably going to be longer, aside from just the obvious. It's like, how are they going to wrap this up in 22 minutes? So yeah, I'm very excited for next week. Sad too, because like I've been saying this entire time, I like the Bad Batch. I've reviewed every single stinking episode of this show on my channel, and I've been pretty positive over the entire thing. There's just that one episode from season 2 I just did not care for at all. It's like, that's actually probably my favorite review, just because it's just so uncharacteristic. It's just so against type for me, where it's like, I'm actually kind of not angry, but I'm definitely like, this was just bad. It's like, and me not really liking a Star Wars thing, which does not happen very often. It's very rare where I don't like a Star Wars thing. So it happens, but yeah, no, but I've been really enjoying doing these reviews, and I'm sad that they will be coming to an end along with the show next week. So yeah, that's pretty much it for these 2 episodes, and we only have the finale left. So exciting. So that'll be it for this review. So thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Remember to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Those links are in the description below, and I will see you guys next week for the finale. See you all then. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.